What's going on YouTube? This is Happy Feets, and on today's episode of Road to Masters, we are going to break down Annihilator Method S23. Before I jump into the step chart, I have to give a big thank you to Goldland Low for pledging to my Patreon and using his perk to select this step chart to be in this week's episode. So this is our first higher end chart for this series, which means there's a lot of complex sections. I'm going to typically show multiple ways to execute certain patterns, so even if you are not at this level, you can still learn quite a bit from this episode. With that said, let's take a look at Annihilator Method S23. The intro for this chart actually has a small but important detail that we need to go over. These step jump patterns can be tiring if you are doing them as shown on screen now. Notice how there's a bit of extra movement for whichever foot is moving from center to arrow with this style of play. Here's how you can save some energy and do it more effortlessly. And all I changed was whichever foot hits the center will just treat the arrow hold as a bracket, meaning I am just hitting both at the same time. This may seem like a very minor change, but every little movement will add up in the long run, and you will get tired out if you do not conserve where you are able to. Moving on to the next section, we will be seeing the red, yellow, red patterns along with some M runs. These patterns are very common around this difficulty range, and you have to learn how to properly double step these type of patterns, or else you will have little to no energy for the finale in any high level chart. This is how you are supposed to play these patterns normally. You can see how I have to commit a lot of movement and at such a high BPM. The easiest way to conserve on this pattern here is to hit the blue note with your heel first, then treat the red, yellow, red pattern as a 3-note bracket jump. You can get away with this because it is a fast BPM and Pump It Up's timing window is extremely wide. Take advantage of this fact and use it to save that energy. It is extremely crucial. The M run pattern here is the same exact strategy and looks something like this. Remember that any blue hit is your heel, then red, yellow, red is a 3-note bracket jump. Drill this in your brain to a point where you can see that pattern and naturally double step it when you are trying to pass higher level charts. Once you get through all of that, you have a pretty generous break with a lot of holds that eventually build up to a death run. The first half of this run will have 2 to 3 red, yellow, red patterns, so remember that double step trick. This applies even in the middle of a run. Once you hit the second half, things start to get really chaotic. This entire section here is exactly why you need to conserve all the energy you can so that you can push hard here to earn a stage pass. I would strongly advise you to study this until you can understand what you need to do. The way this is supposed to look on the dance pad is like so. At first, you're going to be bracketing the entire time with your right foot on the red, yellow, then to the blue, yellow. I tell myself mentally that it is a front swing to a back swing since your right foot is swinging from the front brackets to the back. Up next is a repeat of what you just did, but mirrored. So now we are bracketing with our left foot, starting with the blue-yellow with the back swing into the red-yellow with the front swing. And here is the final section where you have a ton of left side arrows to right side arrow reaches, followed up with more brackets, all at such a fast BPM. Here's what it looks like when done correctly. Once again, you can see how aggressive my movement is and how taxing this can be to do. The strategy here is to once again double step this entire section, which will look like this. A lot of people think you need to have big feet to double step. While it does help, this can still be achieved with smaller feet, so don't feel discouraged. Whenever you are double stepping, stay facing forward and use your heels on those blue notes and even the yellows if you can. Red notes are with your toes and the ball of your feet. I am lifting my feet during all of this, by the way, not sliding, so keep that in mind as well. Remember that you can treat red, yellow, red and blue, yellow, blue as a 3-note bracket jump, even when you have a 2-note jump followed up with a yellow note right after it. That's all for this episode of Road to Masters. Want to see a specific step chart in a future episode? Check out my Patreon and pledge to the Road to Masters tier. The step chart of your choice will be explained just like the one in this video, and you will be given a shout out in the video as well. If you want to learn more about Pump It Up, be sure to follow me on Twitch. I am always more than happy to help teach you stuff or answer any questions that you may have. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.